I still remember that very painful decision. There's a dearth of meaningful conversations with the customers.
High ticket purchases, we have to engender trust. People may want to touch and feel.
I still remember meeting with Mr. Darshan Mehta. We are the ones who increase the basket size for the brand.
In China, I believe there's a movement towards guo chow. It is about buying luxury goods with Chinese characteristics.
You give this much to Indians and we'll synthesize it and give it back to you. Fashion truly has become an industry in India only in 2000. But today if Chanel wants to come to India and say we have done a big black sari, right? That is cultural appropriation.
Don't just come and launch the most obvious thing, but really try to go deeper to understand. That would be magic. Hi, I'm Romit. Welcome to another episode of Lunch Break with Lightspeed. Really happy to have Vikas. Vikas, for context, has been in India and in retail for over 22 years. He has seen the experience of launching right from Peter England to being the CEO of Tata CLiQ. But of course, I cannot do justice to the breadth of experience Vikas has. Vikas, tell us about your experience.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure to meet you and the team over here. I think I started selling shirts and my grandfather was extremely unhappy saying that, is this why you studied so much? Because I joined Peter England and Aditya Birla Group at that point of time. It took me to, in those 4 years, I visited 100 odd towns in India. This is a time when you get introduced to what real India wants.
Right.
I always thought cotton shirts were the best. And there in the small towns, the housewives were telling us that, no, we want polyester shirts because they don't fade. They don't wrinkle, they last longer. So when you travel to these small towns, you suddenly realize that your thought process is so much different from what the customers want. And then I worked with Tommy Hilfiger, and then we launched Diesel, where the requirements were, that's the first time I came across what's Veblen goods or superior goods in economics, right?
Yeah.
And from there, Amazon Fashion and Tata CLiQ Luxury. So I think it's been an interesting journey. Purposefully, this has remained in India.
Yeah.
And hopefully will remain in India for the
No,
next
and I think you're being humble. What, 6 years at Tata CLiQ Luxury? Close to that?
That's right.
And setting that up, including Tata CLiQ as an overall platform and then Tata CLiQ Luxury. Let's start from the basic. You ran Tata CLiQ, of course, as a whole, but Tata CLiQ Luxury was also a separate app. You had to make a decision of which brands and what SKUs go on Tata CLiQ Luxury and what is available on the whole platform. In your opinion, what is a luxury brand?
It's a very interesting question. People slice and dice it in multiple manners, right? One of the theories which I have developed in understanding of this market is there are a lot of brands which start selling on the basis of price point.
Yeah.
I can say I'm a 600 rupee denim brand, right? There are other brands which graduate and they say we sell on the basis of functional strength. My denim is the best ounce denim in the world and it's stretch and it is this and that. We have the best fits. Then some brands graduate to selling it on the basis of the brand name. Like today a Diesel says that we don't follow spring, summer, fall, winter. Yeah. We create what we want to create, right? So we are denims and not that we have to follow any trends. And some brands transcend all of these, right? These are the brands which start telling stories. There's a friend in Delhi who runs a boutique brand, 1111. And when I met him first, he was creating denims which are made from Devraksh cotton.
Okay.
Cotton is grown as a crop. Only in India and Pakistan you have trees on which cotton is grown. This cotton is cannot be farmed. The access is very limited. It's very difficult to convert it into a fabric and difficult to maintain. But there is a heritage and a story. You use this cotton to make that bati for the diyas and all, right?
Yeah.
These are the kind of stories which these products have. Typically, a luxury brand will have provenance. Canadian Goose jacket or Canada Goose jacket is made in Canada.
Correct.
Right? They will not make it in China or anywhere else because they believe the best artisans are there. Yeah. The best of the perfumes will come from Grasse in France. Yeah. Best of the automobiles in terms of engineering will come from Germany, right? Best of the watches will come from Switzerland, right? So there is a provenance, there is a story, and I'll talk about story later. Price, quality, experience at the store, these are hygiene. Yeah. Anyone can give this. But once a brand has these other stuff, which is provenance, a story, and what it results in a timeless product, which typically appreciates with time. That's perhaps how we used to look at luxury.
moving on, Vikas, one of the interesting conversations we have had on the China luxury market, and having sort of spent time studying that, it has truly boggled my mind. It is known that China is driving the luxury growth market. What I thought was extremely interesting about China is that it is about 3x richer than us in terms of purchasing power parity, PPP, but in terms of the luxury market spend, it's almost 8 to 10x higher. So there is something there in a way that makes a Chinese consumer more open to buying luxury or more intentional about buying luxury than an Indian consumer. You have studied that market deeply. In what way is the Chinese consumer, in your mind, different from that of an Indian consumer?
There are times in history when everything comes together, right? I call it the Geo moment, when in India people were launching digital businesses.
Yeah.
No one had thought that a Geo will happen, but a Geo happened. No one had thought that a UPI will happen, but UPI happened. And these two just got practically every digital business launched like how, right?
Like they were enablers for that ecosystem to come up, yes.
I think they became drivers and enablers,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Something similar happened with China in late 2000s and early 2010.
Yeah.
Consumers there were getting rich. That's a story which we know from 1995.
Yeah.
Per capita income was growing significantly. Access to luxury was very poor. What was happening was people were either going and buying at Hainan port, or there was this concept of daegu.
Yeah.
Right? These are people who will travel on your behalf and they'll pick up products at half the price, 1/3 the price, because the import duties were so high, and they will get it for you. And this parallel economy was at one point of time 30 to 40% of luxury sales in China.
Got it. And Hainan, just for viewers who don't know, is an island off the coast of China which is duty free and what does today about $5 or $6 billion in luxury sales alone, which is almost the size of Indian entire luxury market. But yes, please go on. Yeah.
And then the third thing which happened over there was the boom of digital. And when I say digital, Tmall was early starter.
Yeah.
But it's basically Douyin and Daewoo, right? These are the two platforms which just took it to some other trajectory. To give you an idea, there's a 200 billion turnover happening on Douyin today.
This is TikTok for China.
Right, and this is TikTok for China.
Yeah.
18% of total beauty sales online which happens in China, 1 out of 5 is on this platform.
Yeah.
I don't know a platform where every single luxury brand, their creative directors, their CEOs have separate accounts.
Yeah.
Right? They have ensured that they have launched collections for the platform at various points of time. So you look at what was the challenge. The challenge was people didn't have access to products. Opportunity was that there was a huge demand, right? And suddenly these digital platforms come up.
Yeah.
Government decides to reduce the tax, import duties, and as a third most important thing which happens is these brands were slightly desperate at that point of time to get into China because Europe and US had saturated. No other place these brands would have turned a blind eye to 50% discounts on Tmall and many other platforms, but they did it for that period of 3 years because they wanted the market to expand. And after that, they got into the core of Chinese market. So Chinese market, if you'll understand, has 5 key occasions of purchase.
Yeah.
Right? You have 11/11, which is the Singles Day.
Yes.
You have a 618. You have 520, which is so-called Internet Valentine's Day. You have Chinese Lunar New Year.
Yeah.
And then finally there is Quixi. Quixi is the 7th day of 7th month of lunar calendar, celebrated as Day of Love. So you actually have 3 Valentine's Day. There is a Valentine's Day, there is a digital Valentine's Day, and there is a mythical Valentine's Day or mythological Valentine's Day, right? All of this, the brand started weaving stories on each of these occasions. They started creating collections. They started creating content, right? And digital was already very powerful, right? So I think all of this came together. Daewoo is something totally different. It resulted in Gen Z or people born after 1990. 80% of them are on Daewoo, right? They wanted to experiment with pre-loved or pre-owned luxury items, and it started from there. And today, Daewoo in itself is a $10 billion market value.
So it's very interesting, like the way you've laid it out. I'm hearing that there is, of course, the secular trend of increasing income, which is happening, of course, in India as well. but there is also brands themselves adapting both to local culture and local ways of commerce. One thing that again sort of is very interesting about this market is that you look at the top four brands, LV, Hermes, Kering, Chanel, together they would do about 65 to 70% of the whole luxury market. But if you look at the growth rates that are happening, that's from the newer brands. Shangjia, which is an Hermes bag brand, but like with Chinese characteristics, etc. So a lot of that growth is happening from there. Do you think that trend line is that secular, or do you think when we speak about luxury, it is the old school brands that will dominate, the historic brands that will dominate?
I think Indian perspective is like every other country, right?
Yeah.
There are nuances. China has its own nuances, India has its own nuances. Brands which are driven by Western women's wear have very low chances of success in India because we do not have that culture even now, right? Our most expensive items will be saris and what we have worn to marriages versus what we have worn to a black dress event,
Correct.
right? So that eliminates a lot of brands. Then comes in a part of India, while it's small, it's very influential, which for various religious reasons does not want to touch leather, right? That's the second challenge. Then comes the third challenge where women participation in workforce is very low. As a result, the consumption of luxury for women is usually a gift. And that's why you see categories like fragrances, beauty, handbags, which jewelry, right, which can be gifted, are the ones which have grown significantly. Then comes duties. Our import duties are still exorbitant. With the new laws on import of footwear,
Correct.
that's going to become more and more challenging, right?
Yeah.
So these are the challenges of working in India, right? Now, what are the opportunities? The opportunities is that we are sitting on 13,000 ultra high net worth individuals.
Yeah.
We are sitting on 800,000 high net worth individuals.
Yeah.
We are sitting on 700 very high ultra net worth individuals. This segment, what they are consuming, we don't know.
Yeah.
From where they are consuming, we are not looking at it. India is not ready to service these people. Our service levels are still at best a masstige or a premium brand service levels.
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So we have not built an economy to serve these people. Right.
Yeah.
So I think there are opportunities. It's just that this will not be a black dress market.
Yeah.
That's the answer to your first question on the difference between old age brands and new age brands. Like, look at Off-White. When I look at a Ziploc equivalent or the zip tie on their shoes left there, or I look at the shoe torn at all the edges, right? These are not design choices. This is the founder believes that he's ensuring that there is a conversation happening between streets of Chicago and the museums of France, right? This is his way of saying that I'm breaking the walls. Let these people from the street get into your ateliers, let these people get into your museums.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, these stories are very nuanced. We have to build the appreciation for these stories. We have to build the awareness of these stories, right? And it has started in India. If you today look at a certain section of young population, which doesn't believe in this old way of luxury. You get a luxury customer and then using a accessory and then graduate him or her to a main product and then make them a collector or a connoisseur, which is typically how luxury is built. These people give two hoots to that process. For them, it's not about heritage. It's about, are you cool? Is this the trend today?
Yeah.
Right? And they'll pay. Means people are paying for Balenciaga digital avatar $6,000.
Yeah.
Right? In India.
Yeah.
Right? So I think these people behave like a clan. They are not there to stand out. They don't want to show off to someone that I'm rich.
Yeah.
But so all these new age brands, you take Fear of God, Off-White, Bathing Ape, these have come up in last 10 years.
Yeah.
Right? But they are a conversation between streetwear and high fashion.
Correct.
Right? So they understood the pulse of this youth.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see such brands getting developed in India.
I think one interesting point here is that the target market or the target customer for a lot of these brands is younger. Though luxury is traditionally associated with older, like a Tanishq customer is an older woman and, an LV customer is an older person. But these are the new age brands for the younger folks who are trying to do that. And maybe let's just get a little bit deeper into that. If we Look at the Chinese ecosystem. There are 650 plus or 80 plus luxury malls. The largest mall there, SKP Mall in Beijing, I believe, does $2.7 billion in annual turnover.
Right.
Emporio perhaps is under 500 crores. That's the ecosystem. Again, like it's heavily concentrated. You spoke about that. I think 1 million or so of Chinese customers drive 40% of luxury sales, right? If you just look at India trendline, and you would have observed that looking at Tata CLiQ Luxury, what did you find were the opportunities, one? And what was the ecosystem looking like for India, right? Were the brands localizing their collections? Were they getting into channels of commerce in the way they did for China? Where are we on that journey today?
See, India is, again, luxury. We focused, when we were doing Tata CLiQ Luxury, we focused on 100,000 households. And I consciously use the word households and not consumers, right? Because the data of who's a consumer and who's the customer is very difficult to look at. These 100,000 households practically were drawing 80% of our platform sales. The question to ask in India is, or for the luxury audiences anywhere in the world, is very different. You don't ask the question what problem you're trying to solve. Because that customer has, whatever can be solved by money, the customer has solved.
Yeah.
Right? The question that you ask is what emotion you're trying to evoke. Right? There is this beautiful concept of neurocoupling. Right? Our brain understands stories so well. Right? And there is a way of telling stories where the brand gets coupled in your brain. Right? And that relationship results in you feeling the marginal utility of buying that product at whatever price it's being sold is very high for you.
Yeah.
Right? So that whole man is not a rational animal is not correct.
Yeah.
You are rational because the marginal utility of that bag at 3 lakh rupees is very high for you.
Yeah.
When we started, we were very clear that the idea is not to try and sell to these consumers. We created this beautiful concept around slow commerce. And this came from one of my travels. I went somewhere, I'm a vegetarian, and someone told me about these burgers in US, where the lady wakes up at 2 o'clock in the morning and starts preparing the burger. And she opens at 12 and everyone has to stand in a queue. She sells the burgers for $120, right? And these are cooked over smoke, not on fire, right? And the smoke travels from some tubes and there's a full story of, and she does it with her son and 2 more people, 4 of them, and they'll prepare only X number of burgers every day, right? This is such a beautiful story, right? And we realized that there were burgers being sold at $1 in 1 minute, right? Or less at McDonald's, right? But we traveled that far because we traveled for that story. And there's a certain way of life where you don't want delivery in 30 seconds. And so we said, let's start talking to these consumers.
Yeah.
But then you have to do everything accordingly, right? So I still remember that very painful decision where I had to discuss with the product manager that if someone tries to add more than 10 products in a cart, or if someone buys more than few lakhs in a month, can we send a pop-up on the screen? Hey, listen, do you really want to consume so much? Right?
You were dissuading your customers from buying.
We're asking a question, right? Again, it's your choice. I'm not saying that we have logged you out of the platform.
Yeah.
Right? I want to ask you, hey, listen, do you really want to consume so much? And we realized that the customers were thrilled. The customers, that neurocoupling which I was talking about happened. Again, during COVID, we sent an email to every single one of our customers that we are open for business purely out of consideration for our shareholders. But for us, priorities are delivery people and our everyone who works for us, right? And the statement we used was today, community takes precedence over commerce. So while you can order, we are not guaranteeing you that it will come on time. We are not guaranteeing you that if you'll call in 30 seconds, we'll pick up your call. Because we have taken away all those KRAs from our team. We are just focused on their will. So we tried to build the brand like that. Now, of course, does it exclude certain customers who do not value? But that's the choice you make. You make that these are the customers I want to talk to, and we realize that India has quite a lot of them. Second thing is, don't focus on products in India. Products market in India is less than 7 billion. Unfortunately, whenever we talk about China, whenever we talk about consumption, we start looking at luxury product market.
Yeah.
It is less than 5% of wallet share of the rich household. So where do they spend? They will spend on food, they'll spend on experiences, they'll spend on spirits, they'll spend on jewelry, watches, marriages. Unfortunately, a lot of companies are not talking about overall consumption in luxury. They are so we said, let's focus on 100,000 households and let's build everything that is needed for them. So during COVID, these households started building gyms, and India didn't have luxury equipment. We spoke to many brands all over the world, and we started building luxury gym equipments, and the sale took off. I still remember building a luxury stationery store. You'll be surprised number of people who buy pencils worth 3,000 rupees. Now, 3,000 rupees is not expensive.
Yeah.
But an average cost of a pencil is 10 rupees.
Of course.
So someone buying a 3,000 rupee pencil is a luxury customer, right?
Yes.
So understand those consumers. Today, after food hall has moved out of Indian markets, we do not have someone satisfying the grocery needs of these households in a luxury manner. There is an open market there to be done. So there is luxury travel. Today, number of people who are willing to pay so much for luxury travel of their parents, right? I recently went to Ayodhya, and I recently went to a few other places, and I could have paid 7 times more price for my parents for a much better experience.
Yeah.
But those experiences, luxury experiences, are still not developed in India, right?
Correct.
So I think there's enough and more. Right.
So a lot of angles to
right.
take with this 100,000 households, and
Right.
not just a product-focused approach.
Right.
But Vikas, as you were saying, it was so interesting that you made some contrary consumer calls. Hey, are you sure you want to buy so much? Hey, we're not going to deliver on time. Commerce is optional, community is first. Why do that? Maybe using that, I'd love to understand from your perspective what drove these users to stick to a particular platform.
I think, one, we carried the name of Tata. Right, so there was a historical burden or opportunity to live up to that name, right? We never had to tell people that everything sold on this platform is genuine because of the Tata name. So that was the positive of carrying that name.
Yeah.
But we had to ensure that we don't come across as nation builders and not traders, right? So that was one very, very important consideration while doing this. Second is, yes, you're right, an understanding of these customers where they don't want to be treated as one more venue of selling more, right? So when you go and talk to these customers, the thing they hate the most is those 20 chocolate cakes which come to them on their birthday from banks and financial institutions and brands, which they hate, right? Because it's a waste. There's a dearth of meaningful conversations with the customers. So they are not looking at recognition, they are looking at connection. So I'm no more happy walking into a showroom and a person comes dressed in a suit and says, hello, Mr. Purohit, and all that he or she knows is my name, but the person doesn't know anything beyond that, right? So one is that, do we have those meaningful conversations? Second is, we have realized that if you're honest with your customers, they stick with you. We had some crazy repeat rates. If I'm not mistaken, it was 70% plus retention after 3 years. I had not seen such retention rates in my life of 2 decades of retail, right? But yes, there was a team which was focused on creating the right kind of curation of brands. There was another team which was focused on building the right kind of content, right? And third team which was focused on building the right kind of service when these people called. I still remember we did this experiment of saying that, how do we differentiate at delivery, right? So when we launched with a black box with a ribbon and so on and so forth, which is common. But then we said that if someone comes at your office to deliver other e-commerce portal parcels, they are either in a brown box or whatever. Correct. The person is dressed like whatever the person is dressed, or might be even carrying a bag. We said, let's move away. Let's get these 2 people who come in a car. The car is branded Tata CLiQ Luxury. It was a Tata Harrier, black color. People were dressed in, one of the designers had done the uniforms for them. They were wearing white gloves. They'll come up with that black box at your office counter, reception, and call you and hand over that box to you. And you get elevated there and then at the point of delivery, right? So a lot of these small nuances were taken care of, which resulted in we becoming the market leader at that point of time.
But you clearly understood the persona of this customer, that they like to feel elevated. In a market where customers themselves cannot articulate very clearly what would make them feel special, how are you deriving these user insights?
See, I think we had very simple criteria, what emotion we want to evoke. And we had 3 platforms. We had Tata CLiQ, we had Tata CLiQ Palette, which was in beauty, and we had Tata CLiQ Luxury. And the answer for this question was very different. In Tata CLiQ, we wanted to evoke an emotion of efficiency. In Tata CLiQ Palette, which is a beauty platform, we wanted to evoke the emotion of expertise. In Tata CLiQ Luxury, we wanted to evoke the emotion of being pampered. After that, the team just, we had the best people out there. So someone came up with the idea that how do we differentiate at the point of delivery, someone differentiated when someone calls, what happens. We came up with the concept of WhatsApp concierge. So yeah, multiple things.
All of that, okay. Yeah, that ties in well with my next question. You are, of course, an e-commerce platform, like a online platform. How did you think about tackling the fact that these are high-ticket purchases? We have to engender trust. People may want to touch and feel. And so how do you sort of address that customer mindset about this category?
See, again, this customer evolved. When Net-a-Porter came into picture, they were very clear that we will curate the best for you. And this is a time when these consumers all over the world, they believe that there is a curator who will pick up 10 to 20% of range of every brand and bring it to us because these people were investing in the merchandise. We believe the customer has moved on, right? Today, the customer says the curation is happening at the brand level. LV is deciding that they will manufacture these 70 SKUs for this season or this year. Now, we don't want one more person who comes and curate. Let algorithms do that curation for us. You get all the 70, right? Impossible to buy all the range of every single brand all over the world,
of course,
right? Financial considerations will not do it.
Yeah.
So one of the things which we went from day zero is omni-channel. We said that we do not want to expose X percentage of multiple brands. We would rather expose 100% of every brand. So first thing we said is, let's go and tie up with the brands which have stores in India. And all their stores inventory will be linked to Tata CLiQ Luxury, right? So if someone is going to wants a Tumi bag, all the 10, 12, 14 number of stores in India, 100% of that inventory is visible. 100% of inventory is priced, whatever the price is there in the store. All of it will be shipped from the store with a note from the store manager. And of course, Tata Trust. And you will get it in 48 hours, right? Now, this was the magic, right? Where I know a lot of people are not buying in India. Luxury products when these brands were not present in India or present with only one store because they felt that the range is is not the whole range. So they'll go to a Hong Kong or a Singapore or a Dubai and that's when they'll buy it. So this took care of that, right? So it's very, very important for, is it painful? Oh yeah. It took us 6 months to train the store staff that they have to pick up the order within 30 minutes of receiving an order, right? Because they'll wait till end of the day or someone will come up next day and all of that stuff, right? We had to train the retail operations managers that this sale should come in the incentive kitty of store staff, otherwise they are not incentivized to service this product correctly. So a lot of things had to be changed, right? How the order which store the order should go to first, right? Should it be nearest to the customer? Should it be the one which sends fastest? Should it be the one where brand has highest inventory stuck because you're solving a problem for the brand, right? So there is a lot of back-end algorithm which goes in, and if the store says no, I don't have this product, or it is, then where should the jump be? How many jumps should happen, and so on and so forth, right? So I think the team did a fantastic job in launching India's first omni-channel platform, and again, 100% of the products at the price, 48 hours delivery, backed by Tata Trust. I still remember meeting with Mr. Darshan Mehta, and he is perhaps the one who understands Indian luxury market like no one, and two of us were chatting, and he said that, Vikas, you guys are like Swiggy, Zomato for me. The customers will come to my restaurant, which he meant the stores, maybe once in 3 months, right? And of course, the customer will like the food and ambience and so on and so forth. But once I know my shirt size or my denim size, then today in Bombay or Delhi, to make that 1.5 hours of travel to go there and not even finding my size
Yeah.
is a huge disappointment.
Correct.
Right? So yeah, the customer will still keep going to the store once in 3 months, but this customer will be buying on our platform, Tata CLiQ Luxury, every month.
Yeah.
Right? So we are the ones who increase the basket size for the brand or lifetime value.
I
for
love
the
that.
brand.
I love that articulation, and very well put. You know, there's I want to get this term right, but in China, I believe there's a movement towards guo chao. Probably have messed up the pronunciation there, but essentially it is about buying luxury goods with Chinese characteristics, right? So Hermes has launched a brand called Shangjia. There's Keelan and a bunch of other brands essentially that are taking up, but they're stories that we carry the story of China forward, the Chinese heritage forward, and especially popular with a lot of first-time luxury buyers.
Right.
In my view, some of the brands are doing that well in India, right? There's examples of perhaps Napadori, Raw Mango, Ikaya Saris. So there is some movement towards there, but we haven't found a lot of that happening in India. Like India has a rich cultural heritage, a lot of stories to tell, a lot of provenance. What do you think has come in the way, and are you seeing that changing?
So, a couple of things. I think we made a huge mistake in promoting India as a handicraft market versus a handcrafted market. And this is what the Italians did.
Yeah.
They went the handcraft way, we went handicraft way, and we became 500 rupees Janpat items.
Yeah.
When the same artisans could have been promoted as people who handcraft things over X number of days with great quality. Right? So, I think that's one mistake which we made for whatever reasons. The second is very cultural, right? Our education system is you give this much to Indians, and we'll synthesize it and give it back to you, right? And that's why we are very good at logic and data interpretation and so on and so forth. Till now, our education system was not designed in a manner where if you give someone just a point and ask them to grow from there, you tell someone, okay, build something from black. The person will struggle. Black what? Is it a color? Is it something, right? Maybe 90% of schools even today do not have design as a subject in Indian curriculum. Till 95, even till early 2000, I know of families where if the kids say we want to go to NIFT, it was considered that you are morally depraved, right? Because designers are morally depraved, So it's a mix of all of this is changing, right? Movies became an industry in late 50s, and today we are creating some of the best movies in the world, right? I think fashion truly has become an industry in India only in 2000, right? So it's less than 20 years old where fashion has got the respect which it should. So am I pessimistic? I'm not. I believe it will take another 2 to 3 decades to start seeing those brands come out. We already have offshoots. Every time I see Sabyasachi, there is someone who's proud of his Bengal association, and you see that tiger, and you see the heritage, and you see all of that, right? There'll be a lot more coming out of India in the next Good Earth, right?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful brand.
Good example. Yes,
it's a fantastic brand, and stayed the way it has stayed for last 2 to 3 decades, right?
Yeah.
I think we'll see a lot, right? Yeah. But what should not happen is cultural appropriation. So I have seen this many brands which come to India, they will launch a Band Gala and call it an India collection, right? Now that's cultural appropriation. Why did Coco Chanel do a little black dress? Is because she grew up in a monastery around nuns who were wearing those black and white habits, right? And all of this came together when she came up with a little black dress. So I'll appreciate a little black dress from a Coco Chanel, right? But today if Chanel wants to come to India and say we have done a big black sari, right? That is cultural appropriation. So you have to really understand what Indians want. Means black sari itself in India is not an auspicious sari for happy occasions, right? So you'll have to understand that. So I think brands should invest more time the way they're doing in China. They should not do it for check the box. And we should wait for Indian brands to come up in the next 1 or 2 decades. Right?
That's very interesting. It takes me back to how IKEA launched in India. I think that was a fantastic example of thinking about what an India first collection could look like. Of course, they had their iconic pieces, and of course, they're not luxury, but it was a premium, organized home decor furniture setting for Indians, and they scouted through artisans of Rajasthan, etc., to create some of the iconic pieces in Indian motifs and fashions, and serve them. And yeah, I think that's a great example. Don't just come and launch the most obvious thing, but really try to go deeper to understand the tapestry of India. What are the artisans producing, and see where it matches with your product catalog, and see what you could co-create. That would be magic. My final question, Vikas, to you is, I have to talk about sustainability. Increasingly, we have found younger customers placing a lot of emphasis on that, and not just lip service. One of the more interesting examples is that luxury market is on a downswing in China today because of the general state of the economy. The pre-loved good marketplaces for luxury items, the second-hand marketplaces, they are actually growing over 20% year on year, primarily driven by Gen Zs and the younger customers who place an emphasis on that.
Right.
India, where do you think we're in that journey?
I think, you should have that many number of luxury pieces to resell, right? Because of the size of the market, we are slightly away from there.
Yeah.
So we do not have but we can always start somewhere else. We can start with sneakers. Yeah. Today, the number of sneakers which are there in India which have to be resold, and I'm talking about sneakers of upwards of 10,000 rupees. Yeah. It's just someone has to put in a system of authenticating, right? Yeah. And that's where I was talking about Devu. They were very clear: authenticate first, buy later.
Yes.
So if I go and say I want to sell the LV bag on Devu, they'll first get the bag to a central place where they had best in the world process to detect fakes.
Yes. So you build trust on that platform.
They will ensure that they'll give a certificate of authenticity to that product, and then only whoever buys will receive that product. It will happen. You will see these kind of concepts coming up, but rentals has been around for 5 years but has not taken off in India, right? So I see pre-loved watches as a great starting point. I see pre-loved sneakers as a great starting point. These two are low-hanging fruits for India.
Vikas, there's one quote that I will definitely take back from this is, we have been a handicrafts market. It's time for India to become a handcrafted market. It's been a masterclass. Thank you for spending time in Bombay with us.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
My pleasure.